Hi, welcome back to Imperium Learning. In the previous video, I introduced you to a range of text functions. In this video now, I'd like to show you how you can combine all these text functions together in order to solve the tricky postcode problem that I posed to you at the end of the last video. So, if you think about it, what we want to do is we want to use our text functions in such a way that only these parts of the postcodes remain, and this allows us to categorize the properties into a general area. Now, one thing that I would just like to do before we start building this replace function is to go to cell E3, where we wrap this left formula inside a right formula, press F2 to get into the cell, and just highlight everything inside the cell except for the equal sign. Once you do that, hit Ctrl C, then press Enter to leave, and then I think in cell S1, let's say, what you're going to want to do is paste this formula inside speech marks so that we can see it for when we're actually building our complicated function. So the first thing we're going to want to do then is type in equals replace, and open the brackets. Now the first argument is very straightforward. All we have to do is select the postcode and press comma. Now this is the argument where things start to get a bit tricky. Let's think about this for a second, the start number. Bear in mind that we just want to lop off everything in the postcode if it doesn't directly match this table of postcodes that I've produced here. So we can see that a total of 5 postcodes have 2 characters. Those are EC, NW, SE, SW, and WC. And so the other 3 have a single character. So what we want our replace function to do is to start on the 3rd character if it's a 2-character postcode, and we want it to start on the 2nd character if it's a single character postcode. And the way that we make an arrangement for this wish is by starting with an if function. Now, as you can see, the first argument of the if function is the logical test, and we're going to have to set out 3 logical tests. So this is where we're going to use our OR function. So we want our replace function to start on the 3rd character if it's either EC, NW, SE, SW, or WC. So that means the 2nd characters that we're looking out for are C, W, and E. So what we can do is we can actually use this formula that I copy and pasted into cell S1 as the main part of our logical test for the 3 logical tests. So what you want to do is just start copying out that formula in cell S1. And once you've written it out, we're just going to use the equal sign. And all we're interested in is whether it's a C, an E, or a W. So let's just, for the first test, open speech marks and push in a C. Then press comma. Then press F2 and just highlight this whole formula that we just typed out. Hit Control C to copy and then hit Control V. So we've already covered letter C. Let's pick the letter W next. Again, just hit Control V. And the last letter is the letter E. Now that we've set out our 3 logical tests, we can just close the brackets to close the OR function. And now we're back in the if function. So just press comma. So we want our replace function to start on the 3rd character if we have a 2-character postcode. So if those tests are satisfied, so in other words, if either the 2nd character is a C, a W, or an E, then the value, if true, must be 3. Okay, so we want it to start on the 3rd character. And if the 2nd character isn't a C, an E, or a W, then we know that we're dealing with a single character postcode, and so we'd want it to start on the 2nd character. Just close the brackets. So this whole formula here for the start number argument is really complicated. But all it's basically saying is that if the 2nd character is a C, a W, or an E, we want our replace function to start on the 3rd character. If it's not any of those letters, we want it to start on the 2nd. Now let's think about the number of characters. In reality, the number of characters differs depending on the actual cell. It doesn't matter though, because this is where we're going to use our len function. So all we're going to do is type in len, open brackets, and B3, and then close brackets. Now just bear in mind that why we're typing in len is because what it's doing in the context of the replace function is it's just going to remove everything, including either the 2nd or 3rd character, and removing the rest of the cell. Okay, so it doesn't matter how many characters the particular postcode has, it doesn't matter because the len function is just going to say to the replace function, get rid of everything. And because we're only interested in a final result that's something like E or EC or whatever, we don't actually want to insert any new text. So all we're going to do is just type in 2 speech marks and close the brackets. And so that's it. That's our completed replace function. So let's see if it actually works. What we'll want to do is just go down to the bottom here, type in any character in the H column, go back up, then hit Control C and hit Control V. Now if we just scroll down, let's see if we can find any mistakes. So what we're looking out for is numbers in particular. Yeah, it's all good. Now what I'd like to do is to use a Vlookup function so that all these E's, for example, become Easts, all these ECs become Eastern Centrals, etc, etc. So all we're going to do is we're going to type in equals Vlookup, open the brackets. What's our lookup value going to be? It's going to be H3. What's our table array going to be? Well, it's just going to be this table right here. Just press F2, by the way, to lock yourself into the cell, because you'll want to anchor everything. This is where we use our match function. What's our lookup value going to be? Well, it's just going to be the area column header. Press F2 again so that you can anchor. Lookup array, what's that going to be? Well, it's just going to be the 2 column headers. Make sure you anchor that as well. Match type, we want an exact match type, so we'll type in 0. And then the range lookup is also going to be 0. So if we just quickly copy and paste that down, hopefully that should be good. Just make sure that's all properly done. Yep. And now the last thing that I'd like to do is to copy this whole thing back into the property transaction data worksheet. Just insert a new column in the H column. And for the column header in the H column, just type in area. And then what you're going to do is you're going to want to do a paste special, so just type in Alt-ES. Okay. Just copy that again. And yeah, that should align with the postcode data. So hopefully this video has shown you how to build relatively complex formulas in Microsoft Excel. If you found this video confusing, my advice would be not to be put off by building complex formulas in Excel, because if you can wrap multiple functions inside of other functions, then what that will allow you to do is to devise sophisticated solutions to complex problems. So I'm pleased to say that this video on being able to combine text functions is now complete. In the next video, I'm going to be showing you how to use find and replace, and showing you how to use it for particularly pernickety problems that you may face. So see you there.